So this is one of those, if we're looking for that vertical line, we immediately look at this and go, what it can be.
Or it could be E. So,
Well, you have two, you do have two options, yeah. Yeah, you have two options left. But if we look at this one. All right, our work side is going to be the left side. Oh, 26 is A. 27?
A.
27 is a funny one. Let's look at that one too. So 27, we're looking for weld up here on this top side. We kind of have a little funny joint. So if we look at, let's start with D. So D, we have the other side, which would be correct because it would be up here. But our arrow is pointing to this piece. That piece isn't worked, this piece is worked. All right, so since that arrow is pointing over here, all right, so it's showing us on the right side where we're gonna weld this, but it's showing the work being done on this flat piece. So we know that's not right. We go to C. We're showing other side, and because it's showing the other side, it's showing that we would weld this down here. We know that's not correct. It is showing the worked piece being over here, which is correct, but because it's showing other side, that's not going to be right. Look at this one, same deal, right? It's showing weld over here, and it's showing this piece being worked. So we know that's not right. So if we look at A, we're showing other side, it's showing our weld going to be up here, and it's pointing to the correct piece that's worked. Now it's going to be A. Yeah. So we're on other side, so it's showing us making the weld over there, just like that. And the arrow is pointing at this piece that's going to be worked like that joint configuration is showing. So on this one, it's going to be A. Make sense?
Yep.
Not really.
Okay. On A?
Yeah.
On A? So A is showing the other side, which is going to be the opposite of the arrow. So the arrow currently is pointing to this side of the joint. So we have a joint side here and a joint side here. So in this case, if this configuration was down here, that would mean we're going to weld it here. But because it's on top and it's telling us other side, that means we're going to go to the other side of this thing and we're going to weld over here on this side. Yeah. The way this is set up with this joint configuration, it really does make it confusing for this one.
Right.
29. So let's look at this one. Let's start with D. So D, on the other side, we're going to keep it just flat. On the arrow side, we're going to bevel it. So basically, this is saying that we have a beveled V groove, or a V groove with a landing on it, is what this is telling us. Right. So that right here we have flat. It's going to look like this. Over here, looking that way, so we know D's not right. If we look at C, we have other side, V groove, arrow side flat. So both of these, you can see that both of these joint configurations would be the same, but one's written up on top and has them flipped, and then we come down this way and have them the opposite direction. You guys got that? Does that make sense? Yeah, different way of writing the same thing, exactly. Maybe we're on a print that has a whole bunch of crap that's into this print. The only place they could put this weld symbol is right here. So they have to write it that way.
A and D are exact.
A and D? Look at it. Let's go to A. So we have A. They're identical, exactly. Just like that. And B, we have other side, D groove, arrow side flat.
A and B can be ruled out by side because of the weld side.
Yep, so our weld needs to be up here on the top side. Look at D. D is showing arrow side. D is showing that weld being here. C is showing the weld being here. D is showing the weld here, and you can do it over here. On the other side. This is going to be the other side. So D, we got to get rid of. So we have C and D. So in this case, we have a flat side and we have a little J thing up here. So over here we have a J. So that arrow pointing this direction to this piece. In this case, we're going to be at C. Over here, we have the arrow pointing the opposite direction. And on here, we have a flat piece that doesn't need to be worked. So in this case, on 30, we're going to be C. Yeah, 30 is C. Well, it's just this piece over here is the piece that's in. Arrow is pointing to this piece because this piece is the piece being worked. This piece over here is still just a flat piece. We got on 31. That's what I have. I have A down, but let's look at the rest of it. So in this case on D, what's wrong with C and D? Because that vertical line is over here, instead of being on the left, we can immediately get rid of those two. Flat line, vertical flat line has got to be on the left on our symbols. So right here on B, this could be a couple of different things. So this right now, the way it's showing with no other numbers on there, is telling us that we're welding down this side. We're welding down this side. You know what? A wasn't correct either. Because there's no dimension. So A, we don't know how long these have to be. So maybe if they had a pitch up here of like 2 on 4, then we would know that we need to lay this out staggered 2 on 4.
That would be a segmented.
Staggered.
Would there be dimensions on the top?
Yeah, 31 is going to be E. they would have put some dimensions on here, this A would be correct. But since they didn't put any dimensions on there, we don't know what. 31's E, 32. 32 is another weird one. So that needs to be the first thing we look for on these questions. Vertical lines. Immediately, it said, so let's start with D. So on D, we have a fillet weld on the arrow side, which would be right here. Then we have we have a bevel that we have to fill up, and then we have to put a fillet weld on top of it. That's going to be the other side. That means we have a fillet weld or a bevel that we cut on here, and then we have a fillet weld there. In this case, it's the opposite. In this case, we have a fillet weld here. Bevel. Like that. So we go to B. We have a fillet weld, other side. Then we have a bevel on arrow side, and then that bevel gets filled up. Alright. So this joint configuration right here is one that we see in like you might have a shell. This is the outside shell, right? Inside. So we have to sometimes put nozzles in here. We do both the flange up here. We'll have to put a stringer in it. And then we'll fill it up. Times I'll just try and get this thing just over flush. And what we'll do, because some of these things might be 4 inches thick. When you have a 4-inch thick shell, the bevel's laid back, it might be that wide. From the edge of that nozzle over the edge of the bevel. We're not going to put a fillet weld on there to cover that up. That's that long. It takes 3 weeks to do a fillet. Like a phone going up to the nozzle. We have that fillet weld up to here. Cover it all. So what we'll do is we'll fill this bevel up, we'll come back and we'll grind it off. And that weld down where it's basically flush with the base metal. Like that. Get it nice and cleaned up, grind that weld down to where everything's nice and flush. And then we'll come in here and we might put fillet weld in there like that. And we're not bringing that fillet weld all the way out here. So we're filling up that bevel, grind it down, then put the fillet weld on. That's basically what we're looking at right here. So we're filling up that bevel.